You know, a little cleaning now could really reduce weeds in the future. Jamie Patton is here with some combine maintenance tips. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
We've seen a lot of combines moving around now, getting active in the fields.
We are. Weed harvest has started, and so we're starting to see that activity kick up.
So when you finish a field, what do you need to do before moving on to the next one?
Ideally, and so we know we're pressed for time, but ideally when we look at particularly fields that are infested with weeds, we know that herbicide-resistant weeds are spreading across the state, and we're going to try our best to keep those out of fields. So if we have the opportunity to clean out a combine before moving on to the next field, particularly when we know that field has a large amount of weeds in it, that would help to reduce the spread from one field to another.
And there's a video that you've shared with us. We're going to put the whole thing on our website, but
Excellent.
They highlight a few of the areas that are really critical to get in.
So when you get in there, what we're looking at, and what is most impressive to me, is when we look at a combine, and as you start to take those cleaners apart and the head apart, we're looking at over 100 pounds of biomass that's still left in a combine after cleaning. And so it only takes a few weed seeds to start the spread of herbicide resistance. And so getting in there and it only takes basically an air compressor as well as a leaf blower. So something everybody has on the farm.
Some simple tools you can even take out to the field with you.
Exactly.
Now talk about the importance of trying to stop weeds where they're at. You mentioned that there's some new varietals that are causing some problems.
There are, and so when we look at the spread of herbicide-resistant water hemp, it's becoming a real issue in our fields. In particular, this year, it's of concern to me as we're not able to get into our fields and get them sprayed in a timely manner. We're seeing those weeds coming to maturity. And what's impressive is each weed, one single plant of a water hemp, can produce over 1 million seeds.
Whoa.
So when you think about it, and we have documented this across the state, you may start with one plant, but soon you have a patch, and maybe 2, 3, 4 years later, your entire field is covered with this herbicide-resistant weed. So getting in and being proactive is very, very important.
How do we identify if we have one of these troublesome weeds in our field?
So first of all, talk to your extension educator or your agronomist if you're unsure, but there are excellent resources out there that show the pictures. So identifying a red root pigweed versus a water hemp is actually pretty straightforward. You're looking for pubescence. So is the stem hairy? If the stem is hairy, then it's a red root pigweed. If it's smooth and doesn't have those hairs, then we're going to look at it and determine whether or not it's Palmer amaranth or water hemp. And so does it have spikes, so on and so forth. But it's very easy, and as they start to get mature, it becomes much easier than when they're smaller.
What about our soils, Jamie? I know that's your area of expertise. How are they faring this year?
I'm getting really concerned with the amount of rain that we're having, and so getting in there and getting our crops harvested in a timely manner, as well as getting that manure out and applied to our fields, is going to be a real challenge. So soil compaction is going to be a real issue as we move into the fall.
Because I know some of our farmers are still playing significant catch-up from fall of last year.
Most definitely. On the drive in this morning, when we look at, I have fields that are tasseling in corn and some that are only at V4 or V5, so we're going to have a very extended harvest season, and because of that, we're not going to have a lot of opportunity to pick and choose when we can get into the fields.
And the same message we preach during planting, give it some time. It's not worth the years of damage you could do with compaction.
Exactly. So why rush 1 year when we know that compaction and its effects on yield can last 5, 10, 15 or more years.
Jamie, on your website, what other resources are we going to find that would be helpful for producers right now?
So when we look at it, there are actually, I think, 6 or 7 new videos that have been posted on the NPM website on cover crops. And so we still have a lot of prevent plant acres out there that haven't been planted. We'll also have some early corn silage coming out. So there's some opportunities to look at those videos and see what options we have for keeping that soil covered over our fall and winter.
Because the goal would be to get some of those cover crops in now if the rain holds out.
Most definitely.
Thanks so much for being here, Jamie. As we mentioned, we will put a link to those videos on our website, wearegreenbay.com. Just click on Midwest Farm Weekly.